I should have known something was wrong the moment I woke up. I felt so tired, and a chill had crept throughout my body that left me feeling numb. Even though I was swaddled up in the blankets, it still felt like I had just decided to lie down and take a nap in the snow outside. Even more concerning though, the room around me was empty and silent, instead of just filled with darkness like usual, leaving an ominously eerie atmosphere in its wake. No light from the hallway was coming into the room, and the shadows were thicker than ever. Then came the realization that completely sent shivers down my spine. I wasn't breathing. These things happened fast, like someone rapidly taking a bunch of pictures. I lurch upwards, pressing my hands against my chest. But there's nothing. No rise and fall of my chest, no thump of my heart. I was freezing too. Terror gripped me. I flung myself out of bed. "Hello?" I called out. "Hello?" Where was everyone else? My roomie, Kara, could normally be heard out in the living room, even in the middle of the night. I pushed open the door to my room and stepped out into the thin, narrow hallway. At the end of it, I found the living room. The TV wasn't turned on. There were no lights on anywhere in the house. Did we lose power or something? Kara, what's going on? But there's no answer to that either. I moved into the kitchen. A vase with some white lilies was sitting on the counter. Reaching out, I brushed the very tips of my fingers over the plant. The flower petal curled up and died beneath the touch. Gasping, I jerked my hand backwards. "What's happening?" "It's time," said a voice from behind me. I spun around, finding myself face to face with a tall man wearing a dark cloak. The fabric seemed to consume him, thick spills of it that hung in pools along the floor. His face was completely obscured by shadow. "Who are you?" I demanded. "Madison Green," said the figure. "You know what's happened." "I don't know anything," I insisted, stepping backwards away from the shape. I reach out behind me with one hand, feeling around for the top drawer and tugging it open. My fingers brush over the utensils inside, curling around the handle of one of the knives. "Especially not how you got in my house. What did you do with Kara?" The man swept past me, reaching out and touching the flowers the same as I had. His fingers are skeletal, no flesh on them, nothing but bones. The moment that he did, the entire white lily flower shriveled up and turns to a husk. Dried petals fell onto the blue marble countertop. And then he turned to face me again, just a tilt of his head. The hood shifted enough that I could make out his face through the shadows. There's nothing but a skull beneath the shadows, with red lights at the center of each darkness-filled eye socket. I thought that I had known fear before, but it was nothing like the sensation that cut through me right then. "No," I said, the word coming out as barely a breath. The man before me laughed, and it was this sharp sort of sound, like stones rattling in a tin can. There was no way that he was anyone but death himself, standing in my kitchen. "That's what I thought. You're a smart young woman, Madison. I knew that you would be able to figure it out. You just needed to open up your eyes. Are they open now? Do you know who I am?" "Death," I breathed. "But that's impossible. I'm not dead. Look at me. I woke up just a moment ago and..." I threw my arms out to either side. "I'm here. I'm physically, literally right here." "You aren't," said Death. "This is just a moment of in-between. You are the cold spot in another person's house, the creak of a door that shouldn't be moving." He stepped towards me, reaching out and pressing a hand to the curve of my cheek. "And you are mine." Someone screamed. No, I screamed. The sound wrenched itself from my throat, unbidden at that ice-like touch. Without thinking, I tightened my grip on one of the knives and slammed it into the back of Death's hand. The blade sunk between two thin bones. It didn't do any physical damage, but Death did jerk his hand backwards, away from my face. I took the chance to shove him as hard as I could, pushing him away from me. The touch was cold as ice, even in that fleeting moment. With tears in my eyes, I ran past him, out of the kitchen and into the living room. "Kara? Kara! Where are you?" Death followed after me at a slow, steady pace. He didn't seem concerned with my reaction. He pulled the knife out of the back of his hand and tossed it onto the floor. The blade slid underneath the back of the sofa. "You can't go anywhere. Try and leave, Madison. You will only further prove my point for me." Maybe it was stupid, but I ran for the front door. It wasn't locked. The door flung open and led me into my bedroom. The door closed behind me on its own. The shadows were so thick that I could barely breathe. It felt as though they were weighing my limbs down. Someone knocked on my door. Thump. A pause. Thump. A pause. Thump. Death's voice filtered through the wood. "Madison, won't you let me in?" "No!" I screamed the word as loud as I could. There was a simple lock on the handle of the door. I flicked it, but then I grabbed the chair of my desk anyway and jammed the top of it underneath the handle. That way, even if he tried to come in, he couldn't. Lights. I needed to turn on lights so I could see. Fumbling with the wall, I felt around for the switch. Clicking it cast the room into a bright glow. The sudden light hurt my eyes and I squinted against it, scrubbing at my eyes with one hand. Thump. "Madison." Thump. "There's nothing you can do." Thump. "You should make it easy on the both of us. Just give in. Let me collect what is mine." "I don't have anything for you!" "Madison, you are mine. The dead are always mine. And I am here now, looking to collect." "Go away!" I screamed so loud that it made my throat ache. There had to be a way out of this. I looked around the room. Wait, that's it! The window! I threw myself towards it, curling my fingers around the base. It slid up easy. I was on the first floor, so it wasn't even going to be a jump. I just needed to throw one leg out the window and haul myself up so that I was straddling the sill. Then I braced both hands on the sill, and I twisted to slide all the way out. There was this awful tugging sensation at the pit of my back. I was standing in my bedroom, with my hands on the sill, staring out through the glass. "What? No, that's not possible!" A skeletal hand curled around my shoulder. Death was right behind me. The air was so cold that it burned me. Fog spilled out between my lips with each exhale, clouds pluming in front of me. Slowly, I turned to stare up at him. Death was impossibly tall, ethereal in a way that could only barely fit into our reality. "Have you realized what is going on?" "I'm not dead. I can't be. I don't remember dying," I told him, but my voice got softer and smaller with each word that twisted out into being. Death said, "Many do not remember it. They simply wake up, and I must collect them. But I can only do that when they admit that they are truly mine." His voice dropped low. "Are you mine, Madison?" "What?" I swallow, hard. My mouth is dry and my lips are cracked. "What happens if I tell you no?" "Then I will wait," said Death. "I will wait until you do accept it. You will not be able to leave. You will be able to see no one but me. Is that the unlife that you want? Is that how you wish to spend your days? How did I die? I challenged him. Why? I wasn't sure. I guess there was a part of me that thought maybe this was something I could trick my way out of. Instead, my questions only seemed to anger Death, who suddenly swept forward and curled both skeletal hands around my throat. The pressure was intense. I grabbed at his wrists, trying to push him backwards, but I couldn't shake him off of me. Death snarled, "Let me show you. Then maybe you will come with me. When you just wake up in that bed again, and again, and again." I couldn't get him off of me. The tightness was impossible to breathe around. Dark spots began to dance through my vision. I was slammed backwards against the wall. The bones are leaving bruises against my skin. Death's grip was so tight that I couldn't even wheeze through it. My chest ached. The world got dark. Death's bright red eyes stared down at me. And I lurched straight up in my bed with a scream. I couldn't catch my breath. Both hands flung up to my throat, grabbing at it. But there were no hands to pry free. My heart was pounding so hard that it felt like it could break out of my chest at any moment. The hall light flicked on, and then the partially open door swings the rest of the way in. And that bright light floods into the room. It's not Death standing there, but Kara. She demanded, "What's wrong?" I let out a heavy breath, struggling to calm down my racing heart. I drew my legs up to my chest and leaned against it, pressing my forehead against them. Kara insisted, "Madison, are you okay?" "It was just a dream," I said, relief thick in my words. "Thank God. It was just a dream." But when I went into the kitchen later, I noticed the lilies, shriveled up husks that crumbled onto the counter. And it made me pause. It made me wonder, how many times would I wake up in that bed?
Subscribe today, or beware.